Amanam Gumbo Jungle Yang Lai Chan Soy Lo Kongi Lonjin Jinyin Jindai Nidare Nandara Jinyin Dengun Jijin Zijin Yijin Dukare Mam Zen Kondai Si Senroi Mari Mendum Dumai Jizi Yozo Kunai Koji Zan Gen Lai Zhu Ju Dan Ju Nye Mo Nye Lu Jie Jie Jia Zhu Du Zi Jin Mari Min Se Dong Lai Nyu Jin Yen Jun Zi Ru Li Nan Den Den Da Jin Sa Ju Da Zi Yen Den Li Zon Jia Zi Du Wei Gu Chu Zha Chu Dan Chu Nyen Jin Da Li Min Zi Jian Wei Yang Lai Zi Maram Bhajana Dev Mara 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 Bhajana Dev M Umara Bhajana Deva, Mara 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 Bhajana Deva, Umara Bhajana Deva, Zeden Jeje Chera Vazre, Dale Demon Bharat, Kadan Denje Jumla Tobai, Roje Pobe Nawa, Sadhu Su. Non Jeje More, Non Jimur Nyanze Jada, Kalin Tonga Majeba, Polo Jinji Jinja Vesha Jinda Jima Meva Langwera Dode, Uzungu Bajimi Bonen Jan, Zajinja Zujio, Jiwani Zera Namjidu, Tuji Jesus, Merze Duzo, Mungisha Zandai, Mungizal Zimbe Nondai, Zembe Zendo Barvendo, Gunmigin, Zinjuru, Dujinama, Gunejirin, Jinazum, Jikonjabe, Tuambe Mogar Veshabe, Tirindale Zorojo, Jenzolim, Nombo Zere, Jay, Nandura, Jen, and Jendro, Zenzo, Denjon Barry, Manjun, Zoro, Gombolo Dorian, Devadan, Tommy, Cholan, Jenda, Jujan, Bawazo, Zamlin, Jonan, Jedi, Jon, Condidega, and Jenny Bugolo, and Denga Junga, Shazado, and Business in Bevan and Jurba. Jimmy Jenda, Jon, Ridon Jambajunale, Bombilone, Pobet, Gendron, Janzemo, Mivam Jambi, Anjidai, Jon. Kongidala Rivalovadan, the Jidin Jemimana Mazo, Lavazana, Umbrishinabe, Mujitin Jela Jon. Amonguru, Jinimbamin, the Jishitala Punjaranjo, the Jijibin, the Jigala, Mendanawa, Padim Lami, Jedi, Jon, in the Sanjigan Naya, Padim Sanjigan Nella Big Guns, Zoade, Zolam Nachela, Nena, the Shalom Jabaka Sudan, the Zambi Chujin Chabebe, Sember Devatada, the Jiji, Namori, Tamba, like it on the Damiji, and Gunda Dami, Ganamdan, Duagunji, Danam Jizamba, Tamjeke, Doso Surte, Jurji, Manjunangi, Tadanyam Besenjin Hamje, Namdo Dinji Devana Nameva, Yandabanzo, Pisanji, Buhan, Burjina. Jine Jam Gubrasha, the Echedu, Kabachi Bishoro, Jazichin Bashiwala, the Nidin Zebi, Chanjusin Bichebal and Jubatini, Sushin Lucene, Yamsulon, Yo Yamdu, Sambasham Chuchu, the Jabanachi, the Sense. So, as always, that it's at the beginning that in order to transform our this meritorious activity into the cause of enlightenment, and for that purpose it is a requirement or it is important to generate this awakened mind called Bodhicharayavatara in this way. that for the all sake of motherly sentient beings, in order to lead them to complete liberation from this cyclic existence and its cause, and then to lead them to complete enlightenment. For that purpose, that I'm going to listening this Mahayana scripture composed by Shantideva, they call the way of Bodhisattva's life. And then whatsoever so with that kind of preparation, intention, that listen this and study this way of Bodhisattva's life. Then top of that intention and also the conduct or the manner, the while listening the teachings, that we should give completely, or we should focus our ear to the sound of teaching, and then we should try our best to not to mix or mingle while we are listening Dharma teachings, any kind of those afflictive emotions, and try not to mix or mingle with it. And then focus on its teaching, and then try to keep or try to hold all this meaning of this guidance or teachings. And also, if one is capable, then also try to memorize those words which describing or which clarifying those meanings as well. So in this preparation, then listen this and study this way of Bodhisattva's life. And then this is preliminary or kind of like a preparation. And then the actual, the meritorious activity itself is the listening Dharma teaching from your side, and then teaching Dharma teachings from my side. And then while we are that when we are trying to be present with this teaching and try to be present with the listening of its own meaning, and then try to contemplate on its meaning and words. The actual teaching here that we have this the way of Bodhisattva's life has 10 chapters with the 4 main themes. And then the first theme, that which introducing the benefit of bodhicitta, and then after understand the benefit or the advantage or the potential of this bodhicitta, then that kind of potential things in order to have or in order to receive within oneself, in order to have within oneself, and how one should prepare to have it. And then that stanza number 2, and then also some of the most of the upper part of stanza number 3, also guiding all of that. And then the later part of the third chapter, sorry, not stanza, chapter, and the later part of third chapters, then really guiding how to have exactly this bodhicitta vow, and bodhicitta and bodhisattva's vow within oneself. And this is the first theme that which we complete. And then after we generate this bodhicitta and receive this bodhisattva's vow, now and then in order not to transgress this bodhisattva's, and in order to lose citta, then what and how one should practice and how one should prepare. Then mainly that Shantideva was saying that after you understand all this, then you need to understand the precepts that which can help us to maintain, which can help us to not transgress. If anyone who doesn't want to lose bodhicitta, who doesn't want to transgress their bodhisattva's vow, then must study about all those precepts that accordance with the individual's capability, that one precepts with the one precepts or 4 precepts or 20 precepts. So with this precepts, understanding all those precepts, and then we should try and we should be very careful to not to oppose any of those which help us to not to lose bodhisattva and not transgress our bodhisattva's vow. Then for that, then we need to understand all those precepts, and then we need to have a sense of carefulness on those precepts to maintain and not to oppose, not to against these precepts. So for that purpose, we need to have this sense of carefulness. And then top of this sense of carefulness, and then also we need to have this in order to make it very firm, stable, then we need to have this mindfulness and introspection. So mindfulness and the introspections is the two very main key that whatever we know, whatever we understand, whatever we acknowledge, that in order to firm, stable, and in order to make it, or in order to transform that understand, knowledge, and recognition into realize, then this mindfulness and the introspections is the key point that which can help us to stabilize and make it firm and transform into the realizations. And these two things are generally, yes, I'm saying that we need these two things with any kind of practice, and including this now, the way of Bodhisattva's life practice as well. And persons who want to follow the way of Bodhisattva's life, then they must also have this two key points to not to trust Bodhisattva's vow. And then based on this sense of carefulness, and then mindfulness and introspection, then what one should do, and then one should try to engage orderly these 3 stages of discipline practice. That discipline of refraining from wrongdoing first. That is the stage. First, that is the level that we need to try, we need to practice. And then once we are able to avoid all those, and once we are able to practice well on this discipline of refraining from wrongdoing, then top of that, and we need to step forward, or we need to go to the next level, that which is talking about this second stages of discipline, which is the discipline of gathering the virtues. And Shantideva, how to practice that, and then Shantideva, he also mentioned earlier that this main kind of like obscurations in order to practice oneself into the discipline of gathering virtue is to having that sense of importantness within this body. With the having a very sense of importantness within this body is the most greatest obstacle that in order to engage into this practice. So therefore, we should try to reduce that importantness within this body. And then he provided 4 or 5 different methods to how to reduce the sense of importantness to this body. At the same time, and he also, so when when he is guiding that we need to reduce and rid of this sense of importantness within this body, it does not mean now we should be careless about this body. And at the same time, we should care this body. And then how to care this body? Also, he just guided that the last week that we talked about that how to utilize this body, that just try to transform this body into the wish fulfilled chain by kind of like the that how he said that that the how to use this stanza number kind of like a 69, 70s, and then these stanzas that he explained. So pay this body due remuneration, and then be sure to make it work for you. But do not lavish everything on what will not bring perfect benefit. Regard your body as a vessel, a simple boat for going here and there. Make of it a thing that answers every wish to bring about the of beings. So that's how that you should care your body for that purpose, and you should provide those necessary things definitely. That we discussed last time that the what do you call yes, definitely to secure, to protect this body, we definitely need these three things: food, shelters, and clothes. But from there, it is very easy to slippery, or is very easy to make excuse that this food is not enough, I need that and that food. And then cloth wise also, that it's very easy to make excuse that this cloth is not warm enough, this cloth is something not enough, this cold cloth is not easy to slippery from there to excuse. And likewise, shelter or the room, the place to stay, that we can say excuse, this is so small, even I cannot move in this room. Or so this is some sort of like a very excuse. Actually, there's not a room that you cannot move. And if you cannot move, and it maybe doesn't consider as a room. Anyhow, so this is, I'm just saying that how Shantideva guided to make it balance. So when he's saying that we should reduce this sense of importantness within this body, does not mean now you should be careless. You should care your body and guard and protect your body, maintain your body for the purpose of that, and then how to maintain, just to provide kind of like a pay. It's saying that the what do you call it? That pay this body due remunerations. So that's the very important, due remunerations, and then be sure to make it work for you, just like a servant that we discussed last time. And that's how that Shantideva was kind of like this becomes important to make it balance, that in order oneself to engage into the next stage, the discipline, which is the discipline of gathering virtue. So if we unable to reduce and make it less the importantness within this body, then it's really hard and difficult for anyone to engage into the discipline of gathering virtues. So therefore, and then after that, then Shantideva was guiding some sort of like a skillful method to how to gather all those virtues, how to engage into the discipline of gathering virtues. Then, so far until now, this what you call a stanza number 78, that 71 to 78, that he showed many different methods, such as some of them are very simple, kind of like he's saying in stanza number 1, be the master of yourself and have an ever smiling countenance, rid yourself of scolding wrathful forms, and be a kind, be a true, they translated this, be a true and honest friend to all. So like that kind of many different skills that he is guiding. So if anyone engaged into, try to practice into this guidance, then that becomes very condition for oneself to be able to engage or practice into this second stages of discipline, which is gathering virtues. So therefore, he gave many different methods or skills. Still, we are within that. We are still in that. So how to how to be a skillful in those methods which can help us to gather the, which can help us the practice into discipline of gathering virtues. Still we are here. And then this stanza number 79, we are today here. Last time we stopped at stanza number 78. Then, what do you call this? This is now continuing our study. Mana yipet jelwadang, cancel yidu wadang, chadang shedang pongwadang, jamshin rembar mawar shas. So just above this stanza number 78 that we discussed last time, that by acting thus in this life you will lose nothing. In future lives, great bliss will come to you. Wrongdoing bring not joy but pain, and in the future, dreadful torments. That this is something also giving a very important important guidance, because sometimes we feel and we think that, oh, if we experience the difficulties and if we experience the suffer, then that is the sign of exhausting our karma. That is the sign, or that is the exactly at helping us exhausting karma, and which is not necessary. That this stanza number 18, letting us understand this as well, the side point. This is very important, right? Normally, that how to say, when we study Buddhism, then yes, we study that everything, whatever you are experiencing, whatever you are having, all because of your karma. Experiencing all, even for the during this our practice, when we are trying to do something, in return we are getting some bad result. That now we can really call, yes, it is exactly now it is ripening karma, which means the exhausting my karma by experiencing these difficulties while we are doing something good things. And for instance, that when we practice, and then sometimes when we really do the retreat, and then we start to feel sick, and we start to have a lot of obstacles, disturbance from friends, relatives, and then so on, that kind of disturbance, that we can really say, because we are doing intentionally, we are doing something great job, and then there are something this kind of disturbance. And then if one able to take it those difficult, if we able to bear it those difficult, then yes, definitely it is exhausting our karma. But here, this stanza clearly showing, but every difficult and every pain and difficult and sorrow, the suffering that what we experiencing, not necessarily it helps exhaust our karma. So that is showing clear by this stanza, right? Do you understanding through this stanza? This is something important message here too. That, okay, so this person that here, what he's saying, wrongdoing bring not joy but pain. This is something related with the upper stanza 77, that we say naturally the fact, reality, or the naturally contemplating on somebody other's qualities is actually happy. It is happy. That one way how we can understand a little bit is that we can understand a little bit with the analyzing with the stranger, analyzing with the stranger, analyzing with the stranger. Those stranger is not your side, not opposite either, right? And then even when we see some stranger on the street, when they give something and when they help some old man and woman to support and help to even the food, when we see that, we just feel joy. This is proving that contemplating on another's quality itself natural is joy. Happy, joy. That's proving. Probably, unless oneself is very evil, even very evil person, but when they see like that, maybe they will feel joy. Oh, he's doing great. But that person has to be a kind of like a completely stranger. We cannot examine, this is what purpose that we are trying to examine the contemplating on others' qualities, natural is joy or not, right? Joy or not. And to prove that, then I'm using this example, that using a stranger instead of side, instead of something like my side or opposite. Absolutely, that when we think about our false quality, we don't feel joy. We feel more anger. We feel more jealous, right? But when we think, when this same quality, if that same quality have within my friend, my relatives, and especially my son, daughter, my family members, then just thinking of that quality makes you super happy. You don't need anything else. A nice shelter to make you happy at that time. Just that quality. You need just that quality to contemplate, think. As soon as you're able to think that quality, you just feel joy, kind of like a unnoticing where this joy is coming from. And therefore, in some of those award, when they win the award, like in a in a play, in a kind of like a soccer or tennis or whatsoever, even in a film, that when they win the award, kind of like a film festival, whatsoever, when they win the award, and then they have to say something, and then they say, I have no word to express. Yes, that's true. There's no word to express their feeling, their joy. Those material cannot give this feeling. This trophy is not giving that feeling actually. Trophy is just representing. That feeling is really comes that the quality that what really he or she did to get this trophy, which is representing that you did the best. Something like that. So, however, what I'm really trying to prove is that contemplating or thinking about another's quality, its natural is actually happy, right? Happy, joy. By using the example of stranger, as I just gave example earlier, that someone who is just help old man or woman to cross the street, when somebody is helping in a very kind way, everybody in around just watching that guy, and it gives some sense of joy within everybody, not just me or not just you, whoever see this stranger. And then if that stranger is not a stranger for you, if that stranger is not a stranger for me, let's say for example, not a stranger for me, then if that stranger is my foe, my enemy, then I will criticize. He is just pretending this, being a nice. He's nothing, he's not really good, but he's just being good here. He's just showing off. I will say that. If that stranger is my friend, my something related or my something related with me, and even very close friend to me, then I will praise over again now. I praise which not really deserve. I praise something. Oh, he is a great. There's a no greater person like him. Look at that, what he's doing right now. There's a no greater person than him around here. I will praise like that way. But this is kind of over praising, right? And if that stranger is my opposite enemy, then he's just showing off. If that stranger is just a stranger, then I'm not over praising. I'm not saying that he or she is pretending. I'll just feel joy by watching their qualities. So you see, that is really proving actually, if we're really able to feel, think, contemplate others' quality, itself is actually joy. And then using that joy, and then Shantideva exactly is saying, using that joy by acting thus in this life, you will lose nothing. Yes, you will lose nothing. In future life, great bliss will come to you. But on the other hand, wrongdoing means now, instead of you are just joying them and you are just saying like this now, you see, getting and saying, oh, he is just pretending, he's not really a good person, he's just showing off and blah 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 blah. You know, now I am saying all these things because it's disturbing my emotion, it's disturbing my mind, right? Therefore, I'm saying all these things, which means wrongdoing bring not joy. Yes, definitely. I'm not enjoying that I'm seeing this he's doing, but pain. Yes, I have some pain in my mind. Therefore, I'm saying all these things. He is just showing off. He is just pretending a nice. He's not really nice guy. See, but pain. Now, what I'm trying to say, now this is pain. This is difficult. This is something you are pain. But this difficult experience not helping exhausting our karma. Instead, it is creating more karma. Which why? Then which is that Shantideva was saying. And in the future, dreadful torment. See? At the moment, it's difficult, pain. But that same pain and difficulties action will going to become cause for your future too. So that's the one thing that I want you to understand. That all the experiencing difficulties not necessarily exhausting our karma. Okay? So in this way, we need to understand. Then, and all these things, and then this is mainly that Shantideva what is trying to hear in this point. What Shantideva is, why he is guiding all these things to give us a skillful method to practice the discipline of gathering virtue. Okay, instead of gathering non-virtue, is trying to let us to practice the discipline of gathering virtue. So you're happy now, and that happy also good for your future. So win-win situation, loss-loss situation, like that. Now after understanding this, and we have to be skillful to which one we want to choose. Contemplating on others' quality and then get mad. And then continuously, and then this stanza number 79. Speak coherently. Is it coherently? Speak coherently, appropriately, clear in meaning, pleasantly. Rid yourself of curving and aversion. Speak gently with the moderation. With the moderation. Mana yipebdewa yansar yidumon. Chadang shidang pombada. Jamshin remember mawar chas. So, which means that when you speak with somebody, that speak in a coherently way or appropriately way. And then whatever you're trying to speak, try to make it clear in meaning. And then pleasantly, try to talk to with anybody like a pleasantly. Then always we should try our best to rid oneself of curving and aversion to the anyone. Kind of like a curving is to our own side. That when this is now something related with the speak that Shantideva was guiding. Don't speak in a biased way now. In a short, it is biased way. Okay, so what is here? This rid yourself of curving. Curving is the kind of like the curving, the sense that curving, or in actually in Tibetan that we're saying this chagdang. Chagdang is curving. Curving is also, yes, one sense of chakpa. Chakpa is kind of like a biased or for our own side. Then we pleased because we have some attach or we have some curving to our own people or our own family or our own friend or our own son, daughter, whatsoever. So this is what really talking about is that, okay, when we have this curving and then this kind of like the what do you call that? Next, speak gently with the moderations will not going to be happen. Speak in up there it is saying that speak coherently, appropriately, clear in meaning, pleasantly. Okay? And those are also not really saying that you just speak whatever makes other happy for the moment. That does not mean either. That has to speak truth, be honest. And then with the sense of this, you see, rid of yourself of curving and aversion. Now, this is mainly that you shouldn't speak out of this two type of emotion. When we speak out of any of these emotions, then it will not going to be gently and moderation. Then it is not going to be the honest as well. The main point here is that to rid off towards our own side the curving, and then to rid off the emotion towards other side the aversion. And without this curving and aversion, and try to gently, moderate, then try to speak coherently, appropriately, clear in meaning, pleasantly, and then even when you speak with the others without these two emotions, but also now here again, that Shantideva was saying, you just don't say that I don't have curving or either aversion. Now I can, without this emotion, I can speak whatever way. No. And then he's saying, even without these two emotions, you speak gently with the moderation. Moderation, right? Moderation means, what does it mean, moderation? In Jamshin, Rembar, Mawarshas, the gently is smooth, right? Speak smooth and speak nice, like not so rough, not so kind of like that. How can I say now? Speak very properly, right? And then what's the moderation?
Moderation.
Mm-hmm.
To limit the amount.
Limit, yes. Yeah, limit. Not too much, not too less. Not too less, so the other don't understand. Not too much, other don't let other understand over. Don't talk more, don't talk less. Moderation. You see, you cannot just say, oh, now I don't have this curving or aversion emotion, so I can speak whatever I want. No. Still Chandra saying, even without these two sense, you should speak gently, moderation. And that way, then if you do this, and this your action could become condition for you to easy to engage into this second stages of discipline, which is the discipline of gathering virtue. When you speak too much, then it's not good. When you speak too less, maybe other people don't understand what you are trying to say, which is now tricky too, right? How we can define that, oh, he or she is not talking too much, or he or she is talking too less. Talking too less may be a little bit easy to understand. When we don't understand what they mean, then maybe they are talking too less. But it's difficult to understand whether they are talking too much or not. Sometimes maybe yes, that we get bored, right? We get bored. Then maybe talking too much. Anyway, so this is also that Chandra was showing that another different skills. That always when you speak with others, coherently, appropriately, clear in meaning, pleasantly, without curving and aversion, intention. Even that, you should speak gently and moderation. If you do that, and this will becomes condition for oneself to able to engage into this discipline of gathering virtues, which itself is all as always reminding you the main purpose is to not to transgress this bodhisattva's vow and not to lose this bodhisattva by engaging into this kind of manner, conduct. This kind of conduct will help us to not to lose that bodhisattva and not to transgress this our bodhisattva's vow. Engaging into this guidance doesn't disturb or doesn't force us to engage into any of those, opposed to any of those 20 or 4 or 1 precepts. And when we are not opposing any of those 20 precepts or 4 precepts or 1 precepts, which means we are not transgressing our precepts. Wow. So, taking this guidance, taking this advice, and then putting into day-to-day life, definitely it helps to maintain this bodhisattva as well, and then to not to lose bodhicitta as well. And then also that another different skills here now. Next one. Mingi senjenta naya deda nila tenenda sandi ni the yuroshi tashin chambitsu jitas. Now here again. When you look at others, this is different skill, right? Different method. When you look at others, think that it will be through them that I, instead of you, I think better, I will become, or instead of come, first let me just read how they translate it here. That you will come to Buddhahood. So look on them with the frank and loving hearts. Okay. Now this one, this third line, instead of you, I think it's better to become that I will, instead of come, become. Is it same? Come, become, same? Same? If I say like this, okay, when you look at others, think that it will be through them that I will become to Buddhahood, but that I will become Buddhahood. Look on them with the frank and loving hearts. See? Now this is another skill, another method that Shantideva was guiding. That whenever you look others, and then try to think that these are the object, these are the conditions that other human beings or whatever beings, these are the very condition for myself, me to achieve enlightenment. Absolutely, actually, that is true. And so look on them with the frank and loving hearts. Frank, I think now frank is kind of like what does it mean, frank? Honest. Oh, I see. Frank. Honest. honest, practical. Okay, the Changshin, yes, Changshin, with the honest, with the sincere, and with the loving kindness. Chambitsujita, with the loving hearts. Yes. So now this is easy to understand, right? And then we also need to understand, same again, that previous purpose of that skill. And same way here, purpose of this skill too. When we try to practice in this way, that what Shantideva guided, and then just try right now, immediately, that look at within this ourselves, each other, and then think that, okay, through them, they are my conditions, me to achieve enlightenment. Definitely, we are conditions each other. Now Shantideva was more here from try to let us look from the positive point, not from the negative point. Looking from the negative point doesn't have any meaning. It is very meaningless. We can look from this positive side by seeing any kind of human, actually, any kind of being. There are possibilities. But anyhow, so now this skill, that this method, that same purpose, the purpose is to not to lose, not to transgress, and not to lose bodhisattva. And then when you see anyone in front of you, if you're able to think that, then just that's thinking, you see, thinking that, oh, they are my condition, they are the one through them which I can become Buddhahood. And then after understanding that, then look at them with a frank and loving heart. So now with that emotion, with that sense, carrying this emotion and carrying this sense will definitely, there's no any reason that we can say it disturbs my bodhisattva's power. It disturbs my bodhisattva. No way. We may not be able to think this way when we think other is my enemy, rather than other is my conditions to become achieve enlightenment. So now these are the kind of like a method, and yes, in a practical living in like this kind of society here, yes, this kind of practice is challenge. That definitely we could say, and that we understand too, experience in day-to-day life. When we see somebody, we are not able to maintain always that thinking, oh, they are my conditions to achieve enlightenment. And especially that when we meet some very stranger, actually the fact, accordance with the way of Bodhisattva's life, they are now actually more greater condition for you to achieve enlightenment. Because through them, you can practice patience. But in a practical, in this living in this society, and then, oh, that kind of like a very hard to apply this method. Difficult to apply this method. But applying this method, and also I'm saying this like patient practice is actually itself is Vajrayana, secret mantrayana practice. Patient, you should keep secret. You shouldn't say that I'm practicing patient to everybody. Other people will take advantage from you. There's the one joke that one monk is meditating under the stupa, and then there's a one old man circumambulating, and then he asked at the first when he met, and then monk, oh monk, what are you doing? And I will practice patience. And then and he come again. He asked again, oh monk, what are you doing? I'm practicing patience. And then third time, then monk said, I'm practicing patience. Now he lost his patience. The fact that kind of a disturbing person, or what you call it, very bad person who is annoying you, right? Asking this question again and again and again. Annoying. Actually, that old person knows. The monk already told him twice that I'm practicing patience. But still, that old man trying to annoy him to see how his patient practice is stable. Then she replied in this way. Now, see, that now this is really, actually, this old man is really becomes third time, okay, second time, third time. The fact actually it is becoming more greater condition for you to practice patience. He should just reply continues or just not reply. That's okay. That's it. Let it be. If he asks, just let him ask. And or if he is skillful, he may can give a skillful way answer. Right? I told you already. Why you just do circumambulation? Finish instead of I'm practicing patience. There's many different methods that he can use, or just ignore, or just keep responding. I'm practicing patience. I'm practicing patience. I'm practicing patience. Definitely, that old man has to go home. He will not going to keep continue doing circumambulation. Anyway, so this is something that here Shantideva was showing this method, that to maintain this, not to transgress this bodhisattva's vow and not to lose this bodhicitta by thinking in this way when you see someone else, whoever, regardless, okay? There's no point. Shantideva also didn't point that when you see your friend, then you think them as your conditions to achieve enlightenment. No, it's just anyone. When you look at others, you see others, there's others. Others includes your enemy too. Strangers, friends, relatives, enemies, foes, everything is others. Think that it will be through them that I will become Buddhahood. So look on them. With that understanding, then have a sense when you look on them at frank and loving hearts. And then now this is the kind of like a very important point. This point is also this stanza 18, number 81. That is stanza 81 is the Nagarjuna also said this in he gave this in letter to a friend too, in a different way, in a different angle, but the same meaning. And now Shantideva, how he is giving here this same meaning actually. but the way of saying and angles are a little slight different. But how do you say here? Look. 딱버릇은신 기랑방 님부인의 랑방이 연된 남이 펜도신 농을와라 게첸줄. Actually, Shantideva here this stanza talking only from the positive side, positive point of view. Then where Nagarjuna, when he talk about this meaning, he just talk about general. It can be switched to the both positive and negative. He's just giving you information in the middle way. But Shantideva here, yes, actually he has to give this in this way because now these are the method, skill that he is showing how to practice, how to engage oneself into the second stages of discipline, which is gathering virtue. Therefore, he has to show some skills to how to gather the virtue. So far, now he showed all the different skills how to gather the virtue. Now here, this stanza, he is showing how you can make it all those gathering virtue method into the great gathering virtue method. Okay? Great virtue. But now you just keep that sense. This stanza is really guiding this one. Until now, he showed many different skills. How, as long as oneself engaging into any of those skills, just right now, when you look into the others, there's one skill, right? One method. And that method, this method itself is, yes, gathering virtue. But now, even this skill method, how one can make it to gather the great amount of virtue. Then this stanza is showing that. Okay? So mainly you should try to understand this meaning through this stanza. That always, what is that? Fired by highest aspiration. Is it fired? Fired. Fired means?
Excited.
Excited. Excited. Okay. Motivated. Always is the one. Fired by highest aspiration is the two. Laboring to implement the antidotes. Right? Implement is lalentawa. Antidote actually just, how can I say? Laboring to implement the antidotes. What do you understanding by this? These are the three levels of sense, three levels of mental activity. Always fired by highest aspiration and laboring to implement the antidote. It's all three from mental. In Tibetan, what do we have? Takpar ngenshin gi lamba am. Nyembo yini lamba nyit. See? In Nagarjuna, in letter to a friend, that Nagarjuna say, constantly and strong willingness, and no antidote. Nagarjuna saying no antidote. Can go to the both sides. Okay, anyway, let me explain this. This is important stanza. So when we understand this stanza very clear, then we can be very skillful to how to make our own action greater and mediocre and lesser. Positive actions, if we want to make these positive actions greater or mediocre or lesser. Okay? Just like that. Okay. Just like above skill, this 80 stanza. That skill that which he gave. When you look to the others and then you think that them that are becoming Buddhahood, right? That's one positive actions. And so look on them with the frank and loving hearts. This is it. It's easy to understand it is positive action, right? Now, this positive actions, whether I want to make great or mediocre or less, that tells by this stanza now. And this stanza understanding is very important in general karma understanding too. How karma kind of like can becomes great karma and mediocre karma and less karma. That is also showing guiding this. But here, as I told you, Shantideva only talk from the positive side. But actually, it can apply to the both sides, negative side too. Let's say, when we look at the others, then instead of me thinking through them, I'm achieving enlightenment. If you think they are stupid, and then that itself is something very negative, right? That's negative, whether I want to make it great or mediocre or less. And then, so I'm looking on them with the opposite of frank. What? Dishonest? Or what? Unfrank. Let's say unfrank. Instead of loving kindness, hateful way. Opposite, right? Opposite now. I'm just kind of trying to. Now that negative action, I want to make great or less. That also tells this next stanza. But somehow directly here Shantideva only talk from the positive side. Okay? That how he is talking here, this is stanza number 81. Always and fired by highest aspiration, laboring to implement the antidotes. You will reap great virtues in the fields of excellence and in the fields of benefiting and sorrow. I don't think this translation is really making this translation doesn't helping me understand that meaning. I don't know how helping you now. Sometimes it could be because of my English, right? But in quality and then the field of benefit, okay, pendo wishing, and then the suffering. Now, these three really talking about object. The first three talking about your mental state, right? Mental setup. And now this second two lines has to show these three different types of object. That object with the full of quality, the object which is so kind for you, the object which are so having difficulties at the moment, which is so difficult, which are going through very difficult at the moment. I'm thinking that this stanza is not showing that's just under three types of object, right? Does it showing? You will reap great virtue, and it's only saying that through that you can reap great virtue, right? Reap means, what is the reap? Gathered. Yes. So you will reap great virtue in the field of excellence. Maybe this excellence is the quality now. In the field of excellence.
There's a commentary
Huh?
on page 334.
Page
34. Footnote.
334.
They explain.
Oh, yeah? 334. 61. The expression field of excellence refers to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Yeah, here. The field of benefit refers to all those who bring benefit, parents, friends, and so on. The field of sorrow, or more usually the field of compassion, refers to all other beings who suffer or who are in some way disadvantaged. The sick, way worn travelers, and others. Yes. No, exactly there. Now this makes clear, right? Excellence, yeah, field of excellence. These three things. Then yes, three objects. Okay, then there. These words are there, right? Now, okay. Now, to understand this stanza clear, I can just use this above the stanza, this stanza 18, that is skill. Okay? The skill that which Shantideva shown in this 80 stanza, which is like when you look at others, think that it will be through them that I will become Buddhahood. So look on them with a frank and loving hearts. Okay, now this one. That kind of skill that you wanna use, you wanna set up in your mind, you wanna use that skill always. That's always. Okay? And then you really wanna use these skills with the fired by highest aspiration. Does it make sense? And then you really want to use this skill. There's no such thing than reduce your willing and stop you to use that skill. Laboring to implement the antidotes. What does this showing? Laboring to implement the antidote. Something that's hard. Work hard. Yeah. Keep going at it. That's no need. So when fired by the highest aspirations, which means you are taking hardship right there, isn't it? The third should be like this. Yeah, in this Tibetan, that's only that one. So this is only also has this 60. It gives the page 60, right? 300 what? Again, we need to go look back there. 334, right? Yeah, this stanza is very important to understand. Make clear here. So through this, once you understand this clearly, you can apply this idea to many of your actions. For example, meditate on patience as an antidote to anger, or on the disgusting aspect of the body as an antidote to desire. What? I don't get it. Anyhow, the point is here now. Let me make this point here. Point is, There is not as such things that can change this your willing to utilize this skill which is shown in this stanza number 80. That, okay, for instance, whenever I look to the others, I always want to think that they are the one, through them that I'm becoming Buddha. So therefore, I'm looking them with the sense of frank and loving hearts. Okay? Now that skill I want to practice always or constantly or always, doesn't matter. With the fired by highest aspiration. And then there's no anything that can prevent me to do this. There's no any conditions, no any no any things or no any objects or no any topic that can change this my mind. There's no any skills you are making. There's no any skills. There's no any force. There's no any polite. Yes, there's no any polite that can change this my mind. That how I set up. That kind of things, that no antidote. That's what means there's no antidote. But here, laboring to implement the antidotes. Yeah. How can I say now this? That you make in thinking this 80 stanza, if I practice this skill, and this skill will really helps me to not transgress Bodhisattva's vow. This skill will really helps me to not to lose Bodhicitta. That laboring to implement the antidote. Does it become like that? If I say this, does it make understandable or not? This 80 stanza, this skill, I'm just picking one skill and how to make it this great. Okay? How to make it that great. That just picking that 80 stanza skills and practicing itself is positive action, right? Itself is positive action, right? Now these positive actions, how I can make great. And in order to make this skill great, then I should have this willing always with the fired by highest inspiration and laboring to implement the antidotes. Understand now? Still not very well, quite well. You understand? Ani, you understand? No?
Yes, I think so.
Other Ani, no understand? Okay, so how can now? Yeah, this is something, yeah, a little bit tricky there, a little bit kind of like it is a little bit deep meaning. Yes, it is really now thorough investigating. that how normally this our karma becomes greater, mediocre, and small. In this way. And if you understand this way, then we understand whether this my action is great positive actions or mediocre positive actions or less positive actions. And whether my this negative action is great or mediocre or less. Whether my this neutral action is great or the what do you call it, mediocre or less. In a one way, neutral action does not really need that stages, 3 levels, just neutral, right? But still, how can I let you understand, Annie? Annie, you understand now a little bit? Now you understand the one first meaning, second meaning. You don't understand the third meaning, right? Third is like that. I said here. Okay, third is this. When you try to apply this 80 skill, stanza 80 skill, then I'm coming to you and I'm saying, you are fool trying this skill. It is not necessarily everybody through them you can achieve enlightenment. That's not true. I told to you. And then you believe on me. And then you give up this skill. That means you are missing this laboring to implement the antidotes. That means there's a no antidote. There is an antidote that I can disturb your this feeling. Understand now? This skill, it's right that we have this confidence. Regardless whether I am able to apply right now or not, this depends on me. But the method or the skill itself is truth. It's right. There's no doubt. You shouldn't take this my advice to lose that thinking maybe this skill is not the right. If you take it my this advice, then that means there's a no antidote. There is an antidote that which can change your this mindset. In your deep mind, you are not fully sure, 100% sure that this skill is the right skill. If you really found that this skill, regardless whether I am able to apply this right now or not, but this skill is something right skill, then no matter how much I try to convince you, you are not going to lose this sense, right? No matter how much I polite to you to change this feeling. Now, no matter how much I be polite to you, no matter how much I be nice to you, and then trying to remove that sense from you, you will not going to lose this sense. Now you understand? Oh, that's the third. This is all in mental action. Okay? This 80 stanza is the one example. Okay? This is one example. And then this now go to the 79 too. 79 still same, you can apply this to 79 stanza too. And then it also can apply to those rest of the skills that which they were shown. That when you look at the other's quality and just contemplate on their quality and joy, feel joy. Then that kind of willingness you have always You have fired by the highest aspirations and laboring to implement the antidotes. Yes.
So the whole meaning of these three stanzas is really to maintain bodhicitta.
Bodhicitta, absolutely, that is now the foundation. Top of that, not to just maintain, top of that, now how to gather the virtues, how to practice this discipline of gathering virtues. Here, right? Gathering virtues. And then now, after showing this how to gathering virtues, and then how to gather this great virtues. Not just virtue, now how to gather the great virtue by applying this stanza. This stanza itself doesn't have one specific actions. It has to go with the another actions. Just like a diligent. Diligent itself doesn't have a specific practice like a patience and morality and generosity and meditation and wisdom. Diligent is something that you need to go with all of those actions. You need to choose one actions, and if you have so much interested on it, then that becomes diligent, right? Diligent has to go with the one, any of those 5 actions, right? Likewise here, this stanza, in order to make this our positive actions to great, and it has to go with some other actions, some positive actions. Therefore, I'm using this 80 stanza, this actions. Always fired by highest aspiration, laboring to implement the antidotes. You will reap great virtues in the field of excellence. And then now here again. Okay, now this action, the 80 stanza action. And you related this with the field of excellence, which is like now Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Right? And then, and in the fields of benefits, when you look to their kind of like your parents and so on. Okay, now again here now. Now this, okay, now it also I may have to change the method rather than this 80 stanza. 80 stanza is any kind of actions, mental, all these 3, always and fired by the highest aspirations, labor to implement the antidote. That goes, but in order to make it more clear, obvious, to able to imagine clear, maybe now this 80 skills, it's not enough to helping us to make clear in imagination in our mind. So here, how, let's see, try whether it is making very obvious to your mind or not. Based on this 80 stanza, okay? 80 skill, 80 stanza skill. That 80 stanza, now you imagine, now you go into that skill. First, you practice that skill, okay? Whenever I'm seeing others, I will think through them. They are the one that through them I'm able to achieve enlightenment. So I'm looking them with a frank and loving heart. That action, that practice, I want to do always, and I really want to do with the fire of highest aspirations. And there's no as such antidote that it can remove this my settle. Definite, it is very stable now. Determined, it is determined. It will never going to change, no matter what. Okay? Then now, try to see this. That kind of seeing others as your conditions to achieve enlightenment to the field of excellence and to the field of benefits and field of sorrow. Is it helping you now? I think. But it's still for us to able to imagine very clear, obvious. This will not going to help 100%. Does it helping now? Okay, look that is the you will reap great virtues in the field of excellence. So when you use that 80 stanza skills, object related with the field of excellence. Let's say that you are looking Buddha and you are seeing Buddha as my greatest conditions to achieve enlightenment. And you are looking some Bodhisattva and then you are looking him or her as my greatest conditions to achieve enlightenment. And you are looking to your parents and you are thinking, yeah, they are the greatest condition for me to achieve enlightenment. And then you are looking to those persons who lost their way or who are in a very bad condition, ill, right? And that kind of person who is very facing difficult at the moment. And then looking them and then seeing them as they are my greatest conditions for me to achieve enlightenment. See, now this is object, right? Not related with your mind now. Mind action is done. Now it's object. Seeing other. Other is now either Buddha or Bodhisattva or your parent or those objects who are undergoing the very difficulties at the moment. Either they are sick or lost their way or lost everything there, their things or whatsoever. Now you see, imagine this way. Does it helps to become, makes obvious and very easy to imagine Apple? More than that, if I use another example, it might help you more. For let's say, I'm also that I already taught this somewhere too. That let's say now, other than this using this 80 stanza skill, let me use protecting others, somebody's life, others' life. And then now, willing to protect somebody's life is very constant. Always I have. Always. And that kind of willing is also fired by the highest aspiration. I have very strong willing, not just want to do, but I really want to do. Very strong in my mind. I really want to save others' life. And then for that, there's no such a antidote can remove this willingness from my mind. Okay, now three mental, which is laboring to implement the antidotes. All three mental set with this action is there. Now, when I go there to save somebody's life, that person is, let's say, like a Buddha or Bodhisattva or my own parent or somebody who lost everything and somebody who is very ill. If the object if I am encounter with that kind of object, then this my protecting others' life virtue action is become very great. This object is now kind of like a, either we can divide it all these three different objects, or within a one person, all three objects can be. Let's say the Bodhisattva, and he or she is also my mother or father, and he or she is ill right now. Then all three objects in one person, or different. Not Bodhisattva, but my parent. Not Bodhisattva, not parent, but somebody who is in a very dangerous situation, but who is somebody who is in a very critical situation, difficult situation. Then I am protecting them with the willingness of always fired by the highest aspiration and laboring to implement the antidote. Clear? And that's also sometimes I talk already about this. To understand this more clear, I'm just using some sort of like a very obvious example. Actually, it is like a just mundane way of example. That's why I'm using accordance with this country. Let's say accordance with this country, Canada. If I say something very bad about our Prime Minister, then this becomes very serious, right? Police may come here to interview with me. If I say same thing to Sean, nobody is coming here to interview me. Obvious, because the object is different. The Prime Minister object is so high, and Sean object's accordance with the mundane is so low. Therefore, nobody's care. It doesn't. This my action of saying something very strange is not becomes big deal, right? Object is not big deal, so therefore what I said about object is not big deal. When object is big deal, even though I said same word, but that word is very big deal. Very big deal. It becomes big deal because of object. Generally, point of view, both are human, same. Are human. Sean is human, President is human, Prime Minister is human. You see, object makes difference. Likewise, here, when we talk about this object, the field of excellence, field of benefits, and field of sorrow, it is not because being like biased. It is naturally there, some energy is there related with these three different objects or to the natural people. You understand now? This is very important point here. Always fired by highest aspiration, laboring to implement the antidotes, you will reap great virtues in the field of excellence, and only Shandideva was talking from the positive point of view, right? You will reap great virtues. If you settle your mind in this way and related these actions with those any kind of these three objects, the field of excellence, or field of benefit, or field of sorrow. If you do it, these actions, related with this any kind of these three objects, then this your actions becomes great, that you will reap great virtues. Now you see, if you miss any concept, any one concept, and then that how becomes less and less and less and less. For instance, that 80 stanza, that skill. When I practice, I really want to practice with the fire by highest aspirations, but I don't have this mind always constant. When I miss this one thing that I don't have always, then it's reducing the percentage. When I heard, then I have very fired by this highest aspiration. I really want to do it. And there's no antidote for getting rid of this. But I don't have this always constant. Then it makes mediocre. This your actions becomes mediocre. Now let's say there's no antidote that can remove this, you are willing to do it. But you don't, also on the other hand, you really don't have the fire by highest aspirations. Then it becomes less. That's how your action become less or mediocre or great. So normally, let's say for that, for us that we are trying to practice this Bodhisattva's way of life, which means that now we are trying to maintain those precepts that which can help us Bodhisattva's power, maintain Bodhisattva's power. Now this Bodhisattva willing to practice, maintain this Bodhisattva's vow, always fired by the highest aspirations, and then laboring to implement the antidote. And then now this willing to practice Bodhisattva's way of life, action becomes great virtue. Right? Likewise, let's say, if I just want to practice aspiration bodhisattva, and that aspiration bodhisattva, I want to practice always, constantly, and I want to practice this with the fired by highest aspiration. And there's no antidote that can remove this willing. When I do practice this aspiration bodhisattva with this kind of sense, then this practice of aspiration bodhisattva's action becomes great virtue. When I'm missing any of one, then it drops down. And when I miss, then drop down. Another drop down. And if I miss all of three, then it is just natural virtue. You have this willing when you flow with the karmic wind, you flow with the condition, then your virtue is also with flow with and your virtue is not really strong, it is also flows. If condition is there, it becomes virtue. If there's no condition, it's come to the neutral. And when there's condition, again go back to virtue. Like that, flows. Okay, so this is so important here now. Okay, so maybe we stop here. If you have a question, we can discuss.
I still have a problem with number 80.
Number 80, okay.
I listened, I read it, you have explained it, I thought about it, but it seems to me that when he says, when you look at others, think that it will be them that will come to it. I still have a difficulty with it because I don't agree in my mind. I'm thinking it's through practice on meditation of deity that I will come to Buddhahood. It is through reliance and devotion to one's Lama that I will come to Buddhahood. Yes, it means that I will help others as much as possible, practice equanimity as much as possible to my own ability, but it is not through others that I will come to Buddhahood. It is through the Lama that I will come to Buddhahood.
Okay, yes, sure. Yes, definitely. It will through Lama. It will through deity. It will through sadhana. It will through meditation. Yes. It will through wisdom. And Shanti, they were here not saying these are not conditioned. Okay? Yes, absolutely. These are conditioned. And addition, plus, and all around this being is also conditioned for you to achieve enlightenment as well.
So it's not just through
Because not just through them. It is not saying that only through them you become enlightened. No. There's no word, right? Yeah.
So the always.
Always has a problem.
So if you can get always, then you get the others. You can get always,
Not necessary. No.
then you can.
You have this. Let's say, for instance, I want to practice Dharma. This is always there. Malay. I want to practice Dharma. It's always there. But I want to practice Dharma with the fire of highest aspiration. It's not there. Right? You're different. You understand?
The always is connected to the wisdom mind.
Huh?
Is it connected to?
Not wisdom. Not wisdom.
Just
For example,
is it relative here?
yeah, relatively. Always. Yeah, always. Yeah, relative, always. This is always. Always I want to do. In mundane also there are many things. Okay, for instance, how can I say? I always wants to help somebody. I always want to help. But not necessarily with the fire of highest aspiration. Right? I always want to practice Dharma. I always want to do business. Let's say. I always want to go to school. I always want to go to university. I always want to travel the world. Whatsoever, I always want to go. But it is not necessary that I have very strong willingness. See now, they are very smart. They make this. That is really true. That we are not able to make this difference. We think that if I have always, which means it's including highest aspiration. Yes, why not? Because I have always. But they are saying, no, it's not guaranteed. It's not necessary. You have something, wish always, but you don't really have strong wish. It's two different. And then when you don't have strong wishes, then your wish can be changed by condition. Then that is also lost.
How do you?
How do we what?
So the always part.
I think
So
Malay.
like coming back to meditation almost. So when you are sitting, you have to come back to the always. To come back. Always.
Yeah, okay, meditation. We can apply this to the meditation.
Yeah.
I always want to do meditation. I'm very eager to do the meditation. But at the moment, it is not no antidote. There is an antidote. It can distract my mind. Right? It can. Some conditions can distract my meditation. So which means there's not a no antidote yet. There is an antidote that which can change this your mind. And then remind again, come back to meditation. Ani, you have a question? No? Rojilamo, you have no question? Huh? No question. No question ever. Okay, then we dedicate. These are the point now here, even when we're making this Manjushri, right? Yeah, that I might understand the teachings and commentary as in the canon. I beseech you to grant the luminosity of confident wisdom. So to understand these things, and we need to utilize this our intelligence. If we're not, then it's a little bit hard to observe this meaning, right? And once you understand, this is very makes sense. It's very clear. That's exactly happening. That's exactly how we can divide it. Oh, this is great or mediocre or less. Now, after that, almost like that, you don't need to ask anybody. You don't need to ask anybody, anyone. Oh, I did this. Can you tell me this is a great virtue or not? You don't need to do that after this. Okay. Sunam de thamje sibani, thomne nyebe dranam hamje ne, shega nanche walam chubayi, sibin zolen doan doar shu, jambal bave jidara kimba nam, kundu zambu te ande shinde, teta kunje jesu nalo, yewan hamje radomo, yewan di shewogen, sanam yeshe sozone, sanam yeshe lechonwe, tamba kunyin tabarasho, sanje kusum nyebe chenlana, chenye menjuru dembe chenlana, gendin meche dembe chenlana, jidara moa nalam jubarasho. By this beneficial activity, may I obtain omniscience, and having vanquished the harmful enemies, greed, anger, delusion, May I liberate all beings tossed about helplessly by the waves of birth, aging, illness, and death in the ocean of becoming. By conforming to the knowledge of courageous Manjushri, Jambalyam, and in the same way as Samanthabhadra, Kundusambo, and following their example, I dedicate perfectly all this virtue. By this virtue, may all beings perfectly achieve the accumulation of merit, sanam, and wisdom, yeshe, and may they thereafter obtain two holy bodies which result from this accumulation. By the blessing of Buddha Sanje, who obtained three bodies, by the blessing of immutable truth of the Dharmata, Chuni, by the blessing of the infallible aspirations of the Sangha, Gendin, may this prayer of dedications be accomplished just as it is. Thank you.